So is it any good? Is the data we've got available to any good? Is it inclusive? Is it accurate? From school-based surveys, I wrote a paper with Soo-Yeon Kim and Siguru Mizanoya for the Global Education Monitoring Report for UNESCO in 2020 that looked at exclusion from assessments. That means PISA, TIMSS, Pearl, SACMEC, PASEC, TERSE, any international assessment of literacy and numeracy in school. It's important for understanding that for well-being, not just for the education results, but also because the background data in most of those surveys on the socioeconomic demographics and children's opinions and position and whatever else it might be, they're also included in these assessments. For the data we get on bullying, except for HBSC, is in background questionnaires of education survey. The same with life satisfaction. PISA captures most of that. So there's so many ways children can be missing from these surveys. I think what they have is they suffer from country level variable bias of the type that for me means they don't mean much. Not at least the way most people manage that data. I think post hoc weighting and adjustments would help, and I don't think I've ever read a paper that has really taken that on. So this first stage one is that you're in a country where there's no collect school-based survey. In Europe, that's not the case, but globally, there's a lot of countries like that. Or that you're excluded from the target population. You're the wrong age, you're in the wrong grade. You have special educational needs, you're taught in a different class or a different school. PISA will tell you that they have limited exclusions from their target populations, which is great, but we're interested in the child population. Then there's exclusion from the collection. So you're in a country with data, you're part of the target population, but it's collected in schools and you don't have a good attendance rate. You have a chronic health problem. You've been excluded for behavioral issues. You're pretty much exactly the type of person we need to be speaking to, but you're not in the data. And then you can be excluded from survey items. I'll show you a bit about this. Modality of collection is interesting. I won't show you but we do look at the fact that migrant kids in PISA tend to have lower non-response rates when using an iPad as opposed to pen and paper. It's always I don't know how to solve this. Perhaps people can help puzzle me this. What is the effect of undertaking literacy studies, testing literacy levels with pen and paper, pencil and paper tests? It doesn't just affect anyway, you'll see. Anyway, and then there's the last thing is on statistical invisibility. So you're in there, you've answered as many questions as you can, the modality's not put you off, your literacy rate's high enough, but you're going to be invisible because you're not good at answering key identifiers that are used to control in complex analysis, like what job your dad does. And that's pretty common. You'll find there's lots of kids that don't do a good job in answering those questions, and it's partly to do with parental relationships. Again, the type of kids we want in the survey and in the analysis are missing. Sorry, I went on too long. Someone's got a flag if I've gone too far. So a quick look at special educational needs. This is old, but it's my favorite chart and all the things because this is the number of children excluded, with special educational needs statements in 2008, 2010. There's the correlation just shows there's not an awful lot of change. This country up here is Finland, with an exclusion rate in 2010 of around about 8%. That means those kids don't get a look in on the PISA test. And here's Sweden with its mainstreaming, where the exclusion rate is the lowest in Europe. And despite a lot of similarities between Sweden and Finland, which most of us outside of those two countries would probably say that's true. I'm sure there's more nuances if you live in either one. But Finland does very well on the PISA tests and Sweden not so much. And I don't think excluding 7% more of the child population is insignificant.